Let me know, is everybody set to go?
Yep, just give us your name and spell it for us and your title.
First name is Elliot, E-L-L-I-O-T. Last name Faust, F-A-U-S-T. And I'm Inspector and Public Information Officer for the Brooklyn Park Police Department. This morning at 10:32 a.m., Brooklyn Park officers and Brooklyn Park Fire Department responding to a small plane crash in the city of Brooklyn Park. The small plane was traveling from out of state on approach to the Crystal Airport, lost power, radioed an emergency, and had planned on emergency landing on County Road 81 at West Broadway. The plane struck several overhead power lines on approach to the emergency landing site and did come down to the ground where it struck another passing motorist. At this time, the passing motorist is deemed to have minor injuries, and there's no known injury to the pilot at this time. We're waiting for the NTSB and the FAA to respond to the scene. I'm gonna probably defer most questions to the fire chief because he has more specifics than I do. Okay, we'll switch over if that works. You want Mike's
Did you
chief?
guys respond pretty quick when all that was down?
We responded in
So
a
tower?
very short period of time.
Is this okay for you?
Yeah, go ahead and just say his name.
Kind of look right through the middle here.
Okay. Sean Conway, Brooklyn Park Fire Chief. Sean, S-H-A-W-N. Last name Conway, C-O-N-W-A-Y.
Chief, so did the pilot call the tower called you?
Yeah, my understanding is there was simultaneous notifications. We were notified at 10:32 a.m. that there was a downed aircraft. We got our notifications from Hennepin County Dispatch, which we believe multiple calls were made from citizens who were witnessing the event, as well as the FAA or the tower at Crystal Airport notifying Hennepin County Dispatch.
Do we know how long in advance? So 10:32 is when you got the call. When did the pilot call in that he or she was making an emergency landing?
I do not have that information. What I do know is the pilot was working through an approach to the airport, was experiencing some mechanical failures with the aircraft, was in contact with the tower, declared an in-flight emergency on approach to Crystal Airport to the southeast.
Was there enough time to clear the highway so that if he's making a landing? No.
No, there was not enough time.
And where were the power lines that he hit?
The power lines are just north of us here, halfway up the intersection. Just south of 73rd here and north of West Broadway.
So which way was he coming? He was coming this way?
He was on approach to Crystal Airport, flying to the southeast. When he experienced the mechanical failure, he did line up with Highway 81 southbound and to begin to set down that aircraft.
What's different about this crash? You know, obviously it involves an airplane, but how does that, are there different challenges or different risks because you're dealing with a plane instead of two cars bumping into each other?
Certainly, because the aircraft, once it's coming down and trying to land, whether or not he was able to maintain control of that aircraft is a very difficult thing to do, I would imagine. While I can't speak to exactly what he was experiencing, the fact that he impacted one vehicle and was able to put the aircraft down, which you see, probably is a testament to his skill as a pilot.
What happened to the occupants inside the plane and the car when you guys showed up? What was going on?
Yes, so there's one pilot with minor injuries, and there was one occupant of the vehicle who also sustained minor injuries and was transported for evaluation.
And they're both facing north, and he was flying south, right?
He was flying parallel with 81 southbound under his approach to Crystal Airport, and probably at the time of the land, I do not have the specifics of how the aircraft impacted the car or if the car impacted the aircraft after it was already down, but he was traveling to the southeast.
Is there any risk in terms of when you come down here though? If it's different fuel, if it's different mechanics, is there a different risk, versus when you answer to a crash between two vehicles?
Definitely, it's very unique. He's on a 3-lane highway with an aircraft. We are running parallel with a train or with active rail, and he, on his approach essentially to Highway 81, he did impact a power line. And so even outside of what some of those challenges might be with victim rescue, with aircraft fuel, vehicle hazards, a train, power, there are significant hazards that we would need to manage and deal with.
What do you learn from this?
Well, my takeaway from this is that you know, we were prepared, and we train annually on aircraft emergencies, whether they're on airport or off airport. And today we're very grateful that there wasn't more serious injuries, but we felt prepared to mitigate this incident.
And you said again that the pilot really deserves a lot of credit here.
In my opinion, absolutely. And while he lost power to his aircraft, for whatever those specifics are, he was able to put it down on this section of highway, and more serious injuries weren't sustained.
Right, considering what he could have crashed if you said there's rail, there's all sorts of things. He missed buildings,
Correct. Yes.
How many people were in the car? Did you already say that?
There was one occupant in the car.
So from the time they called in to the time of the crash, what was the response that you guys? What was the response?
I don't have the specific details because we do have police officers and fire trucks that were responding to this incident from other emergencies that were happening. We had two alarms at different apartment complex, plus a vehicle accident on 252 in Humboldt. But minutes. We were here within minutes.
right? And you know, all of this probably happens in seconds. He loses power. It's not like he glides. You know, that's why there's not enough time for you to get here. It all happens so quickly.
Yeah, and that is my understanding. And while the NTSB and the FAA will be able to handle or answer some of those questions in greater detail, just that piece of the investigation is
Like we don't know what
ongoing.
his altitude or his ground speed was.
Correct. And I would not speak on their behalf for that.
Okay.
Are the minor injuries both the pilot and the driver?
Minor injuries to the occupant of the car, the driver of the car.
Okay.
And the
Yes.
pilot's coming from where again? Do you know where the pilot came from?
I believe he started his flight here at Crystal Airport.
And are they both in the hospital now?
Just the driver of the vehicle was transported for minor injuries and evaluations. The pilot is still here on scene.
Oh, the pilot's still here on scene. Can we talk to him?
That would not be my call. But right now, I think with everything that's happening, the NTSB and the FAA needing to talk with him, it would be better that we let that process play out.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can I?
Yeah.